everyone. I just got done stacking in Cyrillic, and I'm just going to go ahead and open up Cyril in a few minutes. In a few seconds. So I've got Cyril opened up, but I think this is the red filter. I've got, so the target is the Flaming Star Nebula, and I have probably around 5 to 6 hours of HA on the target and about 10 minutes each in RGB and about 20 minutes in L. So I'm going to try and combine the L and R into GB with the HA data to get an HA RGB image. I've been doing that a bit lately. And let me go ahead and I'll go ahead and put in a poll. I'll just see if you guys have seen my previous video about the signal to noise ratio and filters. Just, conversation. Okay. So this is the R filter. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Yeah, the R filter. So let's go ahead and just do an auto stretch real quick and see it. It's okay. It's fine. Especially for 10 minutes of data, I think it works well. I think it's okay. But I think what I want to do is I want to go ahead and do the HA data first. So hopefully everything has been aligned and haven't had any problems with it in terms of like alignment issues. But we'll see. So let's go ahead and open up HA. It's auto stretch. Oh wow, that is some weird things going on with the darks. I don't know what happened there. It's weird. Let me go ahead and check Cyrillic real quick and see if I've got all the right files. This is the first time I'm looking at it. I figured I'd do it, so. Oh, where's Cyrillic? Here it is. Give me 1 second. The HA files in here. Files look good. Dark files also look good. It's almost as if for some of them, it's flipped it around. Like I know there's some amp glow on part of this, so I'm not exactly sure what is going on, which is weird. It's just weird. Linear and auto stretch again. Yeah, that is weird. I don't know what's going on. Like the just make sure I don't have any of the, so the lights are like 300 seconds each. And we've got the darks, they're also 300 seconds. They're all 300 seconds. So it should be, it should be good. I did do a meridian flip, but I think that should account for it, right? Like, I don't know. It's weird. Unless I've got some files in here that aren't HA. Give me 1 second. Okay, those all look good. I'm just going through Cyrillic files real quick. I'll show you what I'm doing. So here we've got all of my HA files. And here I've got all the dark files. These should all be darks. They're all 300 seconds. And then we've got the flats and the dark flats. So, Interesting. Not sure what's going on. Let's try this again. Let me try it again just with the HA. So save the project. I'm going to do just HA. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. The problem is like the R and the G and the B aren't going to be exactly aligned, but it should be fine. Okay, so I'm going to add in 24 HA images. Got another 30 or so HA images. So I should have all the HA images in there now, and I'll add the darks. And then the flats. Maybe I will just leave out the dark flats and see how that works out. So I'll run this. And we'll see. Everybody's seen the video so far. That's good. That's nice. Okay, now let's go ahead and run the scripts. And we'll see if it works out any better. I don't know if it will. Go ahead. Let's see. It's almost like for some of the flats, it thinks that it's rotated 180 degrees. So I'm not sure. You're having a lot of issues with Cyrillic as well? Yeah, it's weird sometimes. Let's see, it's finished, so it should be opening up soon. We'll see. Yeah, I get the same thing. It's weird. It's weird, like some of the flats are reversed. That's all. I mean, that's all it is, and it's adding noise into it and stuff. So, I mean, not some of the flats, some of the darks. Some of the darks have been rotated 180 degrees. What problems have you been having, Andre, with Cyrillic? If you don't mind me asking. If you don't, yeah. Oh, someone hasn't, a couple people haven't seen it yet. Well, after running the script. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I have those issues too, where it doesn't run, and then I realize that I didn't have one of my images in bin 2x2 mode, and it kind of does weird things, and it aborts. Yeah, yeah. So what I'm gonna do is maybe I will remove the darks, and we'll just try and run it like this without any darks, and we'll see what happens. We might get even worse results because like in bin 2x2 mode, you really need to like get out that amp glow. And it seems not possible to open some files. Yeah, it's weird, and I don't understand. Like I've never had this exact problem happen where it thinks that the darks are rotated 180 degrees, and then it doesn't calibrate it correctly. So I'm not sure what's going on. But we'll go ahead and just stack this without the darks and see if that's part of the problem. And they're new darks too, so they're current darks, so they should work with the data that I have. So I'm not sure. We'll see. See what happens when we stack without the darks. Troubleshooting is always fun in astrophotography, I think. I mean, if all else fails, we'll just do some HA, some RGB data, hopefully, if that looks good. Well, what is funny is when I stack old data, it works fine. That's weird. Huh. It's weird. Okay, let's see here. So we've got the new HA file, and we'll do an auto stretch. Okay, yeah. Now we've got like this strange vignetting happening. I don't know. Did I like switch something around? There must be like some dumb user error that's happening on my end. Like I don't understand this at all. Let's see here. So files, got the flats. HA flat should be good. And they're flats. I don't know. Let's try adding the so weird. It's so weird. Let's try dark flats, adding the dark flats to it. Strange stuff. Maybe I've got a weird file in there somewhere. Let's see here. Okay, we'll try again. I'll try it without SubSky turned on. Yeah, this is weird. I think it's like maybe it thinks that the images are inverted. I don't know. I don't know. Let's try it. We can always try things in Deep Sky Stacker too. It's not ideal, but the Deep Sky Stacker is fine. I just open it up preemptively just in case. I mean, it could be that somehow I got something mixed up, but I don't think I did. It's like it's reversing some of the images. Okay, here's Cyrillic. Cyril. Yeah, that's weird. That's so weird. Shouldn't be doing that. Okay. Do I have the right? I've got the HA flats, so I don't know. We're gonna try Deep Sky Stacker. We'll see what happens. This is no fun. Okay, what happens? So I'm gonna open up light files. Give me a second, I'll load all the files in. dark files. And the flat files. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. Let's see. It's going through all of my files that I have. The last time I used Deep Sky Stacker was quite a long time ago. So, kind of, okay. Right, I got flats. I've got darks, flats, and lights. And then let's see here. It's been so long since I've done this. Let's see. Should we add dark flats? I don't know. We could. Let's see here. Let's try 14% as a threshold and see how many stars we get. With a lot of stars, we can lower the threshold, I think. And then get lower. Oh, maybe higher. Make higher. Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably good. And then we'll register them. And then let's see. We'll just register them first. 40 dark frames. They're all taken around the same time. Let me just check to make sure it's like the right temperature and everything. So if I open up a dark frame here and look at the FITS header, CC temperature is 0, which is what it should be. So that's what I've had it at. So I don't think it's the dark frames. I think there's something weird going on. Okay, so it's registering 57 light frames, which seems about right. I mean, could it be like my camera? Like it like reversed something? Like, I don't know. Like when it saved the file, like it, I don't know. It's so weird. Your videos are really good. Keep up the group. Oh, thanks. Thanks. I'm glad you like them. Thanks. Hopefully we can get this Star Sips. Thank you. Hopefully we can get this working tonight. I tried it in Cyrillic, like stacking in Cyrillic, and something like it was not behaving correctly. Like it's almost as if half of the images, like the darks, were reversed, and so maybe it's because there was a meridian flip that happened. But I don't think it should do that. Because we've got like 5 hours, I guess, 4 hours and 45 minutes, and then let's see. Stacking parameters. Let's see, light. Let's do, I don't think we want average. Let's do kappa sigma clipping. And then we'll see what happens from there. And we'll see if we can stack with Deep Sky Stacker, if it's any better. It might not be better. There might be something kind of funky going on with the way the files were saved. But what's nice in Deep Sky Stacker is that you can see like how the stacking information and how things, like whether it thinks it's flipped or not. We'll see. So, I mean, maybe I didn't have the cooler on for some of the images. I don't know. Let's just check it out in Deep Sky Stacker real quick. See if we have the same problems, which might have the exact same problems. No, I mean, oh yeah, we got this weird funky stuff going on. Oh, that's frustrating. It's frustrating. Let's go back here. No, don't want to open those. That is really frustrating. I don't know. We'll just try and deal with it, I guess. We can do some RGB compositing first with the L and the H, or the LRG and B data, and we can see what's going on with the HA data later if it works. Okay, so L, R, G, and B. There's probably something really like obvious that I need to do that like I just don't understand like just like really something dumb that I just need to like kind of do. Okay, so we've got a lot of green. So let's see. Let's see if we can finalize the color balance here before we do anything. So let's zoom in a little bit, take a sample, use the current selection and do background. There we go. Okay, so there's the Flaming Star Nebula in RG and B. We've got a lot of gradients going on, which is expected because it's broadband. I'm in like a Bortle 6 or 7-ish zone. And so are you loading in your dark frames for calibration? Yeah, like, do you mean am I stacking the dark frames? I am stacking them, and I think what's happening is like it's reversing them or something. Like, and I don't know why. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see if we can figure it out. But I'm not exactly sure. So like so if I open up Cyrillic, did I close it? No, I didn't. So here are my HA data, and I did it with and without the darks. And so like when I did it without the darks, I got the same kind of result as Deep Sky Stacker. And when I did it with the darks, it was like really, I mean, without the darks, it was just like there's a lot of vignetting or something. So I'm not exactly sure what is going on really. So we'll see. Okay. So we've got the RG and RGB data, which is only like 30 minutes. So it's not a lot of data. We'll just go ahead and crop it. We got some nice star color, I think. And so you can see the nice nebulosity in here. Oh, just 30 minutes is not too bad. So the first thing I think we want to do is just a background extraction. And we'll just do an RBF. Again, probably it would be better to do something like Graxpert, but I'm lazy tonight, and this works. So I'm going to do some sample points. Oops. Kind of randomly. And then we'll compute the background. Yeah, it does okay. Not the best. Okay, and we'll just apply it and then take it back into linear. And then let's see here. It's fairly bright, but we'll just do an arcsine transformation first. Oops. A bit too much. Tad bit. Oh, it's very strong. I want to save the star color, but like it might be too bright. Don't need a very strong stretch at first, just a little bit. And then we'll go into the generalized hyperbolic stretch transformation. And I think the first thing I want to do is just bring this black point down a bit. apply. And then we'll do the generalized hyperbolic stretch transformation. Can't talk tonight. Okay, so probably around here is where I want the symmetry point at first, somewhere on the left side of the cystogram. And we'll stretch a little bit. And looks okay. I mean, I don't think we're going to stretch it too much because it's just a broadband image. We want to stretch like the HA image more. But we'll play with this stretch factor. Maybe we could bring this all the way up, for example, bring the stretch factor down. See what we get. And then let's see here. Click apply and then do the same thing, but this time we'll turn on the logarithmic scale, and where this is inverted, maybe we'll click here so we can straighten this curve out a little bit. So this time I don't think I want to move this stretch intensity too much. We'll start this. Yeah, you can see it's like bringing out some contrast. I don't think I want to go too much with this. But what I do want to do, we've stretched it. Let's go ahead and remove the stars. So we'll do StarNet star removal. We don't need to pre-stretch it because we've already stretched it. We don't want to recompose because I just want the two things separate. We do want to generate a star mask. I'm just going to click execute and we'll wait for that to finish. So I wonder if it's the darks. There's something wrong with my darks. I've got another set of darks that I could use, like an older set of darks. So let me try this set of darks and see what happens. If not, we'll have to go back through the light frames. And then maybe there's something wrong with the light frames. Maybe like, I don't know. Maybe something's wrong with it. I don't know. Okay, so we've got this. You can see the nebulosity here. And I think this is something here that we want to add in eventually to the HA, sort of illuminates. And so we can get that color in here too, because I think this is more of like O3 data here that's making this kind of blue. Yeah, so. Okay, so we've got that. We'll run the scripts again with the old darks and see what's happening. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Starship, it's amp glow, and it's like reversed. It's on both sides, so it's almost as if like it's stacking some frames with the darks oriented one way, and then stacking other frames with it oriented the other way. So I'm not sure exactly what is happening. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, could it be that like, I don't know. Did I rotate the camera? I didn't rotate the camera, but that wouldn't be the problem. I mean, I don't think it should be a problem anyway. So we'll see if these old darks work better. If not, maybe there's something going on with like the temperature of some of the frames. But I don't know. Okay, so should be opening up now. So we've got this RGB. Here's the new HA image. Let's do auto stretch. Oh wow, yeah. So something wrong with the new darks that I took. I don't know what it is. I have to look into it, but This is so much better. So much better. Okay. So yeah, like this HA data looks pretty good. I mean, you just pan around a little bit, zoom in. I like it. Now, one thing sometimes you have to also do in Cyrillic, like when Cyrillic stacks, sometimes it like doesn't stack everything. So I'm gonna go back into it and then check the, let's see, where is, let's see, 405. Let me see if I can find, yeah, I think it's this one here. So it won't like stack all of the images for some reason, and it'll leave some out and it won't tell you. I mean, it goes so fast when it's scrolling through that console that you don't really see it. So like, let's see, stack count 57 frames. Okay, good. We got all of them in there. This is good. I just want to double check because sometimes it doesn't do that, and then you get like less detail in the image than you think you should, and it doesn't like, and you don't know why. So yeah. Okay, so we figured it out. We troubleshooted. We figured out there's something wrong with my dark frames that I took a few days ago, which is weird. So I'm thinking, so I took 122nd darks, but right before that. So I'm wondering if like something happened. But I don't know. I'll check it out later. But we've got a nice image of the Flaming Star Nebula in HA right now. So let's go ahead and let's see. The first thing I do want to do background extraction. Like if you saw my video on SNR and like filters, you know that my HA filter isn't like the best. And so there can still be some gradients. And I think like the RBF background extraction does a little bit even when I'm using HA data. You can see there's a little bit of gradient even now where it's like it's darker on this side, it's a little bit lighter on this side. And so I'm just going to choose some spots where there's less nebulosity and stuff. And then we'll run it and see what happens. Yeah, I think that does better. I don't know, what do you think? Like I can see it on here. Like where it's darker now on this side and you can see like the nebulosity. We show the original image, you can see it's better. And then it feels like this part of the nebulosity comes out more too. So if I show the original image, yeah, you can see there's a little bit more contrast. So I think it does a good job. And we'll just move this smoothing slider down a little bit and just see if things change. We can add a dither to make sure there's no like weird gradients happening. And I think it looks good. I think we'll keep it like that. And then I do want to stretch it. Again, I'm gonna do a generalized hyperbolic stretch transformation first. I'm gonna zoom in because, oops, zoom in because I want to see the left part of the histogram. I'm gonna place the symmetry point here, move the stretch intensity up quite a bit, and then start stretching until we can see the nebula a little bit, and we can start to see it. Click apply, and then I'm going to change it to a logarithmic scale. We want this, again, we want this to be as flat as possible, and this is showing where we need to add contrast, kind of like where this curve is. So if we put the symmetry point now here, we can maybe stretch this part of the histogram up, and we'll see how that works. We can always change it later. We might want to actually put it more on this left side, but we'll initially put it where this curve is. And then maybe move this up a little bit and then increase the stretch factor. Yeah, I think we want to move the symmetry point a little bit like this. Yeah. And you can see we're trying to make, again, we're trying to make this line as smooth and as straight as possible to get the most out of our image. Go and click apply. And then now maybe we want to make this a little bit straighter. So maybe we can put the symmetry point right here and then start stretching. Yeah, and you can see that, like, you can see how much brighter this central part of the nebula becomes, right? Like this is the original, and you can see like the background is getting darker, the nebula is getting brighter, and we're making this a little bit straighter. And I think, I think it's really cool. Okay, so do we want to do any highlight protection? I don't know if we need to. We can, a little bit if we want, but let's just zoom in a little bit and see what the stars are doing. So are the stars getting blown out at all? I don't think so. They look okay. I think it looks good. I think it looks nice. Click apply and then go back here, and we might want to bring the black point down just a little bit too. There. I mean, I think that's a good initial stretch. Thank you for creating and developing the project. Will the stream be saved? Yeah, it's all my streams are saved, so you can just go onto the onto my channel page, and then instead of videos, there'll be like the tab for streams, and then it'll just be there. I don't really edit them too much. I know some people do. They'll go in and edit it and make things. I just leave it up there. People can see all the mistakes I make and everything. It's it's fine. Like, I'm okay with it. Like earlier today, so I was having some troubles with my darks, and we fixed it. So yeah, I think this middle part of the nebula looks nice. I think it looks pretty nice. It's a little bit soft. Had some tracking issues, but I think it's nice. And we've got some nice detail here in the fainter part of the nebula too. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove the stars. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, we've already stretched the image, so we don't have to pre-stretch it. We don't really care about recomposing the stars. We just want to generate a star mask because we're going to do most of the processing now in GIMP. We're going to execute it. So Yegor, are you talking about the AstroSharp project or the SNR project, or which project, or is it this project? I've got, I mean, right now I've got the just AstroSharp, and then that SNR app I created. Just wondering which one you're thanking me for. If you don't mind asking me, if you don't mind me asking. Oh yeah, this looks really nice. I like the starless image a lot. I mean, it's nice. It's good. It's nice. Got a little bit of like, I don't know, star blue. I don't know, like I don't know what happened. I guess maybe I overstretched it, or maybe there's a little bit of clipping there, even with that bright star. So we'll see. Okay, so I've got this. Let me go ahead and open up GIMP. And in 1 second, got to close some things from GIMP first that I've been working on, and I'll just open up a clean version. Okay, so what I'm going to do, got GIMP up, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the files here. So one of the things is the HA image is not registered to the RGB data because of all the things that happen. So we're going to have to rotate the image and align it a little bit. That's not hard. It shouldn't take too long. But it will be a little bit, it'll be a little bit of a pain to do. It's fine. It's fine. We'll deal with it. Things come up. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to open up is the starless HA image. Okay, so if you do this, right, the starless HA image, when you open up in GIMP, it's going to be in black and white. We do want to change that. So we want to change the image mode to RGB because we're going to be adding RGB layers into this. So if you don't do that, when you load in the RGB images, the it's just going to all be black and white, and you're not going to have color, which is not good. So it's going to open up as layers the star mask for the HA, and then the compositing, so the RGB compositing stuff, the starless and the star mask for that. And then when it asks that, make sure, again, if you're using GIMP, make sure that image composing is not none. It's selected to whatever, and axis equals 3. And then you'll get all those fits files opening it up everything as, an RGB image instead of separate layers. Okay. All right, good. So we've got the color. We've got the the star mask for that. And we've got the HA stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to make these names a little bit more simple for me so I can like know what they are. I'm just going to say HA nebula, and then HA stars, and then RGB stars, and RGB nebula. And there, we should be good. Okay, I'm going to link these files, so if I move this layer, then this layer will also move. So what I want to do is bring this down, make the RGB stars transparent, make sure that the RGB stars are on top of the HA stars, and then start making this transparent so we can see what exactly is going on. So we can see that there's a bright star here and a bright star here. I'm pretty sure that these stars are the same. There's a bright star here and a bright star here. I'm pretty sure these bright stars are the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, click on the layer, press M for move, and then move this layer. And you can see that we have rotation going on. Not good, right? We don't want rotation, but this is not hard. It's not a hard fix. So I'm going to align a smaller star, one that we can definitely make sure is super aligned. Then we're going to measure the angle of 3 stars and then rotate it based on the angle of the stars. So let's see, which star do we want to align with? So let's do this one right here. My eye just comes to it. Okay, and we're gonna see if we can get this as closely aligned as possible. We use the arrow keys. And I'm not exactly sure where the center of these 2 stars is. So I'm just going to leave it here. It'll be okay. What we want to do, okay, so this is the star right here. See all the stars circle around it. We're going to take this measuring tool. So here, instead of color picker, I'm going to click measure, which is, here you can click Shift M, and we're going to take a star that's out here. So if we zoom in here, we can see that these two stars are the same, but they're rotated. So I'm going to click on one, go to the middle star, the star that we've aligned, unclick, press Shift, click again, and drag it back. Okay, and then we'll put these in the center of the stars in the same spot. Okay, all right. And we just want to make sure that this one, the center here, is also in the center of this star. And then down here, it'll say, okay, the angle is 0.94 degrees, right? Right, so it's 0.94 degrees. So we have to rotate this layer and this layer 0.94 degrees. So we'll just go and Shift and R for rotate. And we'll rotate it. Let's see, we want to put the center the rotation. So we can go ahead. Sorry, this is I'm lagging a little bit. Center here of the rotation we can put at the star that we have the center, so we don't have to really align it too much later. We can find that star, which I think was this one. And we go ahead and go 0.94 degrees. I don't know if it's positive or negative. I think it's positive, but we'll see. Go ahead and rotate it, and it'll take a little bit to rotate it, just a little bit. My computer is, I don't know what it is about GIMP, but GIMP sometimes just takes forever to rotate images. And so we'll just, we'll just wait. We'll just chill out for a second, relax. So what has everybody been up to? Anybody up doing anything for the holidays? What does everybody celebrate? You guys do New Year's more? Some people I know, especially outside the US, are they celebrate New Year's more than other holidays like religion, like Hanukkah or Christmas. Anybody got some targets that they're imaging? Let's see, have you seen my latest video of SNR and filters? 57% say yes, 47%, 43% say no. I think it's a good video. I hope it's a good video. Of course, I made it, so I'm biased, right? So I'm definitely biased. Yeah, it just takes a while. Sometimes it takes a while. So I've got next week off from work. Which is good. Close this stuff. I need to save it. Okay. All right. Nope, it rotated the other way. So we need it negative 0.94. It'll take a while again. So negative 0.94. Rotate. We'll see. Let's see what happens now. I don't know what it is. Like sometimes GIMP takes forever to rotate, and sometimes it seems fine. But I just have no idea. Just don't know. Probably because it's using a lot of my CPU, and like other things using my CPU too. So like OBS, and probably getting bottlenecked right now. 50-50. I could show it to you guys. For those of you who haven't seen the video, we could watch it together. Or I could give you a preview. You don't have to watch together, but here's here's a preview of it, right? So much better as an HA filter than no filter. It's Scientific-esque. So I didn't put in one thing I didn't put in was like what Bortle I was in, like what Bortle scale I was in. It's like a 6 or 7. I should have put that in the video. I forgot about that. But like, I know you guys can't hear it right now, but it's just a preview. If you want to ever look at it, if you haven't seen it yet. By no means, you don't have to watch it. There's no one's forcing you to, right? So I guess it's rotating 2 layers at a time too, right? So we've linked the RGB stars and the RGB nebula, so it should be rotating both of them at the same time. But after it rotates, we should be good, I hope. Yeah, we can see that there's like no more rotation. There's just an offset here, I think. So if we take this, click on the RGB stars, and then click M, or type M for move, you can start moving the stars, and it should be perfectly lined up as long as our measurements were good. And so it could be like a little bit off. It is a little bit off. Let's see. If it is a little bit off, you just repeat the process. So you just repeat the process again, but let's see. Or you just like take it and split the difference or something. I'm just going to run around here and see if everything's aligned. Yeah, it's aligned. I think it was fine. I think I just moved it a little bit too much and I didn't realize it. Just blinking between the RGB stars and the HA stars to see if everything lines up, and it does. So that's good. I think it's good enough. Okay. Good. Awesome. All right. Now let's just go ahead and make sure that everything here is still looking good. And it does. So you can see that where StarNet took a star out here and here. Hopefully you can see it on YouTube. But those two things are aligned as well. So we're good. Okay. So everything should be lined up. Yep. Perfect. Nice. Awesome. Okay. All right. So now that we've done that, we did crop the stars for RGB. We didn't crop anything for HA because everything was fine. So what we want to do, we're just going to crop this image now to the RGB layer. So I just tapped R on my keyboard for rectangle select. I'm selecting the part that I want. We can just go to image and crop to selection. And everything should be nice. And if you have any questions about this, let me know. Like the main thing is I'm super glad that it was something wrong with my darks, and that like going to an older dark library just made things work. Okay. So we've got the stars, we've got the nebula. Now what we want to do is, I think what we want to do is we're going to play with the stars later. And Oh, we need to crop this a little bit more. So let's go, we can go and do that. Crop this a bit more. I think what we want to do, and I don't want to rounded corners. Okay, so image, crop to selection. I think what we want to do is try to, I didn't get it all. Didn't get all the stacking artifacts. I don't think it's going to matter too much. So, but it might. So let's go ahead and do it. Make sure we've got everything. It's late. It's been a long day. Okay, we're good. Now I can crop it. Okay, so I think what we want to do now is take the brighter part of this right here and add it to this part here, because the HA isn't capturing some O3 data. And there's some really strong O3 data here that's going to add color. And if we don't have that, it's going to kind of look weird, I think. So there's there's kind of a easy way to do that. I'm just going to duplicate this layer, move this RGB layer down. This copy I'm just going to put in as like, I don't know, added like RGB, and I'm going to make it grayscale. Okay, so layer, and then, or we can just do color, and then saturation. We can just bring this down to like 0 to make it grayscale. And we want to add this part here, like all this brighter stuff, but we don't want to add all the noise and stuff. So we're just going to take the levels and like just bring this down, like, or bring this bottom, the black point, up quite a bit. Almost like we are doing like tone mapping in narrowband imaging. If we're going to do tone mapping, we kind of do something like this. I'm just going to bring this down a little bit, and then we get this here. We can go click. Oh, we could make it brighter if we wanted to, like increase the contrast. And then we can just click OK. And then we might want to kind of like blur this a little bit. So we can add a little bit of like Gaussian blur just to remove some of the noise. And then we'll screen this onto the HA layer. So we'll go ahead and change this layer mode. We can screen or we can add it. There are different options. But it should add some of that information in there. To do addition, we can try different modes. You can try soft light or hard light, but like it should add some of that information in there. You can see a little bit of differences. Now there's still going to be some like noise that it adds. So what we might also want to do is add a layer mask. And we'll just make it full opacity, add layer mask, click on the layer mask. Don't double click, just click on it. And then make sure black is selected, and we will, actually we want it full transparency. So let's click on the layer mask, we'll do colors and invert. And then nothing from that is shown. And in the part, where we think this is, we just make it white. So we color it white, right? So okay, and then let's see here. Let's disable this layer mask. Or, oh, sorry, we want to disable it, not view it. disable it. So I just pressed Control and I clicked on it. I'm going to keep it at normal. And now I'm just going to paint here where I think this stuff is. Okay, and so if we enable the layer mask, we can see it. We can see that we're just painting over this part of the RGB data. Okay, so then we can blur it out. Filters, blur, Gaussian blur, just blur it a little bit. So let's just view the layer mask, press Alt and look at the layer mask, and you can see that we're blurring it. You might want to blur it a little bit more, so it kind of fades in a little bit more nicely. Oh, delete it. Okay. Okay, so all right, so we've got a problem, right? So this is still the normal layer, right? We want to screen it. So again, we want to screen it. Okay, and now we should have some of that data in there so that when we add the RGB into it, like it'll show up. And if not, then we can try and screen this layer again or duplicate it or something. So we can maybe duplicate this, make that a little bit brighter if we wanted to, but at this point I don't want to. Okay, so we have the RGB nebula. Let's go ahead and change this to LCH color. And you can see like this part is that blue part that we had, which is kind of what we wanted. But we don't like this. We don't like this too much. So there are different, I mean, there are ways we can get around this, right? We can blur it a little bit. We can move the black point down. Let's try that at first and see what happens. Don't want to move it too far down. You can also just mask it out. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Yeah. Do we have a lot of color noise? We do have a lot of color noise. So what's nice about this is because it's like a color layer, it like if we just add a Gaussian blur to it, then a lot of the color noise would just go away. So we can zoom in and do a split view. See if there's color noise here on this side. When we do the Gaussian blur, it kind of goes away. Right. So we've got some weird funkiness going on here. So let's go ahead and make this normal and see what's going on. So we've got a lot of red here, a lot of blue here. I think we can just take a selection. So should do a free select, and we'll try just healing the selection. So if you go to filters, now you need to have like the resynthesizer plugin for this in GIMP, but we go to enhance and heal selection, and hopefully it'll work. We'll see. Okay, so default settings are usually okay. Just going to click OK and we'll see what happens. It's working. It's good. Sometimes it doesn't work. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. I'm back. And hopefully this will like even out things, but we'll see. let's try another poll. We can end this poll. We can try another poll, see what people are. What? Oh, it finished. Okay, so good. Like it's fine. Like I think I did a fairly good job. Let's try and get this part out as well. So I selected it and pressed Control F just to repeat it. So you can see it down here working. It's synthesizing. So what's a good poll question? So we're going to be imaging this week. Yes or no? There we go. Yeah. Going to be imaging this week, and if yes, you can, if you want to, you can share in the comments what you're planning on imaging. I should have got some O3 data with this, but like I wanted to, but it's been cloudy or rainy or something, you know, like just I haven't been able to. Okay, good. Okay, so we've got most of that cleared up, which is good. Okay, so let's change this back to LCH color. And we've got okay color. It's a little bit too pink, like very, very pink. So I mean, there are different ways you can deal with this, right? You could go to saturation and just like crank up the saturation a lot if you wanted to, right? And that would make things like more red, more vibrant. That's an easy way to do it. And I don't mind this. I don't mind it. You could also take the HA data, decompose the image into RGB, and then like add the HA in as part of the R, and then recompose it as RGB. That can make things like kind of too red a lot of the times. The problem doing it with the saturation method, like I just did, is that like you can get a lot of color noise. The color noise isn't too bad because you can take this, you can do a new from visible. Let's do a new from visible, and that we're just call this like the starless HA RGB. And then we can decompose this into lab. So we do colors, components, decompose. We can decompose this into lab space. And then click OK. And over here, it'll pop up as a new image. We have the L. The L is pretty clean. And we like the L, right? But the A and the B channels, right, are very noisy. And to get rid of the noise, you can blur it, right? And just take this, do a Gaussian blur it a little bit. Like, can be quite a bit. Most of the information is in the L channel anyway. And then you do colors, components, and recompose. And you can get kind of a nicer, you know, not as noisy of a like color image that way. Okay, so we recomposed it. We look at like before. This is before. This is after. Before. Okay, and then after. You can see that a lot of that color noise, that weird color noise that we had before, is just gone, which is good. Okay. All right, so we've got, I think, a really nice looking starless image, right? And we've got some of that blue that's in the RGB image, right? Like if we're going to take this and just look at the RGB, we've got some of that nice blue. So things are starting to come together. So let's go ahead and add in the HA stars. And we'll bring the HA stars as the top layer. And we'll change the layer mode to, I don't know, like screen or dodge. Not, I mean, screen or addition. So I think screen is probably okay. We can, just add in the stars. Okay, let's see. Got some color gradients still going on here. We might want to take this back into Siril and remove the color gradients, but I think it'll be okay. Okay, so we can add in the stars, and then we can control the stars, right? How bright we want them with the opacity slider, which is an easy way to do it. And I think that looks pretty good. We've got some color gradients. If I was going to redo this image, I think I would try and if I had more time, I would try and like maybe decompose the image again or whatever, and just do it. Another way you could do it is like you take the RGB image, right? Take this, it's LCH color, and you could add a layer mask onto it. So if we wanted to, we could add a layer mask. We could make it full transparency. It doesn't matter at first, because what we're going to do is take the HA data, the HA nebula, we're going to paste it into it. So we're going to press Control V, and then click on this and do anchor layer. We have this as our mask, right? We can see some of the color is coming through. We want more of the color to come through, so we go to colors and levels. We start to brighten things up a bit. We just take things, we brighten things up until we get the color that we want to in the nebula without having the color, bleed out into the background, all those weird color gradients. If that makes sense. And we'll go back and we can just make sure everything is like, okay. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Go here and make sure that like this background is gray. There's a little bit of color in it, right? But I think it's a lot better. Go to colors, levels, and then we can bring the black point down a little bit more if we want to. Hope this makes sense, what I'm doing. But basically this mask here is preventing the color from leaking out into the darker areas. Right, and so if we look here, you can see like all the color here, causing kind of all sorts of problems. This is the RGB without the mask, right? So maybe we just delete this one. And then see, we could even play around with this a little bit more. Go into curves. We can click on the background, bring this all the way down, click on this and bring this up, and really make like a sharp contrast. So we get more of the color in the fainter part of the nebula without it bleeding again into this background. I think that looks okay. What do you think? No, no one's imaging this week. I haven't imaged anything this week either. I just, number one, like it's been cloudy. You can't image when it's cloudy. Number two, it's just been, there's been so much stuff to do. I might have gotten one not imaging. Okay, I think that looks good. So now we can do new from visible. We add the stars in now. I think it looks nice with the stars. Okay. All right, are these stars too bright? Are they too strong? Did we stretch the stars too much? I don't know, maybe. Okay, so we've got the stars, the HA stars in there, and all the HA stars are white. We could leave it like that, right? And it's fine. I do like color in the stars though. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the RGB stars up. I'm going to go, let's try addition first. We'll try addition and we can see, that the stars now have color. However, everything is a little bit brighter. There's a little bit like the stars distract from the nebula a little bit, probably a lot. So if we turn off the RGB stars, you can see how distracting they are. And so again, we're going to use a layer mask. I've done this before, right? You probably are all familiar with it. Do a layer mask. And then we're going to add the HA stars as a layer mask. So I'm going to copy that and anchor it into here. Okay. All right, so there's not that much difference anymore. Like the stars are brighter, which is nice because like the HA stars were a little bit dimmer. But like there's no color in it, in the stars. And so what we might want to do is increase the saturation of this. So we've already got this mask, so we shouldn't worry too much about things bleeding out into the background. So we can go ahead and increase the saturation of the stars. We can keep doing that if we want to. Because a lot of the star color in RGB stars is kind of in the, it's in the outer ring of the star. So if we increase the saturation quite a bit, that saturation is going to slowly start to bleed into the middle of the star. But you might get kind of weird effects, right? So it starts to bleed into the star kind of in weird ways. And if that happens, you can, like here, like this is weird, right? It's funky. All you have to do is just kind of blur it out. So we can take it and do a little bit of a Gaussian blur. And I think it makes a little nice, I think it's a nice effect where you get nice star color in the stars. They're not super big. And it just looks nice. Okay. All right, so we've got this. Ooh. Remove the stars. What does this look like? Okay. If we wanted to, and I'm not saying that we do want to, we wanted to make the nebula even brighter. We could duplicate it. We could change this to screen. It would make the nebula nice and bright. And then when we add the stars, it would kind of look like this. Again, you can control the brightness of that nebula screen by changing the opacity of it. I don't know if I like this effect. Like, it makes the nebula pop a little bit more, but it also kind of gets rid of all of that color that we had. So it's kind of personal preference, I guess. You could also just kind of stretch this nebula, the nebula itself if we wanted to. So we could take this and go to colors and curves and try to stretch out the image. Again, sometimes it's kind of weird. The screen can do it in a way that kind of like feels a little bit more natural. So it's just, personal preference. I haven't thought about it too much, but I don't think I would go with a screen. I think do I want to go with the screen? What do you think? What do you guys think? Any preferences with the screen, without the screen? I'll leave it for a second because I know there's a delay in the. I mean, with the screen, you definitely see. Sorry. A lot more of the nebulosity, which I do like. But you get a little bit more noise, which I don't like. And it changes the colors of everything. So yeah, it makes the colors weird. I try addition. I don't know. What do you guys think? Can you increase the contrast with the screen version? You could, yeah. Yeah, so let's screen it and we'll see. So if we wanted to, we could change the levels and we could change the contrast of it. So we wanted to. That's a good idea. Thank you, Dancer. Let's see. I don't know, is it too bright? Maybe we decrease this. It doesn't have to be like super bright, right? So just enough to like get a feel for that nebulosity here. It's just so it's not such a dark background. I wish I had some O3 data, then I think I could get this to pop better instead of just relying on the RGB data. But a little bit weird color, don't you think? So I wonder if we can change that. Let's see here. I don't know. I'd have to play for that for like a couple hours, probably. I don't think you guys want to go through that. Let's go ahead and like save this as a tip, and we'll put an AstroSharp and AstroClean, and we'll see if we can get it to look a little bit, get these stars to be a little bit smaller. And I don't know. Let's see, colors. Do we want like? I'm just playing with it a little bit. Yeah, it gets weird here. It's weird. Play with it too much. Would a high pass filter be too much? Usually what I do to get the stuff on the left out. Yeah, I've done that. I do that too sometimes. So like, so if we're gonna do, we could do a normal, right? So we do a normal. Let's see here. We could leave the screen. Let's duplicate this visible layer, and we can do the high pass filter. And then let's go to filters, enhance, high pass. I do this a lot too. And like you increase the I don't know if I do it like right. I just play with it. But like you increase the contrast, you increase the standard deviation to something that you like. And then again, change this to like, usually soft light works. And then I don't know. I don't know if I like it with this image like this. And you can screen it, you know, you don't have to like use the whole. You can change the opacity on it as well. But I think I'm going to just put it into AstroSharp and leave it like this as it is right now. And we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I do like the high, blah, blah, blah. Late for me. The high pass filters. It does bring out this, you know, everything. So, I mean, like if we wanted to, we could, again, put a layer mask. So if we look here, with and without the high pass filter, it can bring out some of the detail of the nebulosity. Let's just do a screen. We'll do a very light screen to bring some of that detail out. I mean, there's so much stuff here. There's like such a cool nebula, such a lot of nebulosity that I don't know. You want to bring it all out, but then you bring it out too much and it messes things up. It can mess things up. So I think we'll take this, make it into a TIFF, and then we'll put it into AstroSharp and AstroClean and see what happens there. I'm just going to copy this. I don't particularly like this image, right? Usually when I process an image, like it takes me like 3 times to get it right. So I like will I'll do a first run at it like this, and I'll be like, you know what? I don't like the color, which I don't like the color too much. I don't like how noisy it is right here. And I'll just like make a list of the stuff that I don't like, and then I'll reprocess it again, keeping in mind the things that I don't like. And usually the second version comes out a lot better. And then after that, I'll reprocess it again using those same techniques. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as a TIFF file. Second. So IC 405. And then we go ahead and bring up AstroSharp. Give it a second to start up. But again, reprocessing everything would have to go back and do that all over again. It'll take another couple hours. I have data on M83 that I've redone at least 12 times. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you have to do it at least 3 times. Like it's just something you just have to do. I'm going to open it up. Let's see if I've got the image here. I save it. Not save it. I haven't saved it yet. Of course. Okay, it should be saved. Oh, here it is. Took a while. Okay, so loading it in. Here we go. We've got a preview. It's in. So, okay, so we've got a preview. It is color file. We're going to do the preview at first. And for the DSO, we can bring it up quite a bit. For the stars, we might not want to. So let's go and update the sliders and see what happens. Okay, so we're getting a sharper nebula. The stars, there's some ringing around them still. So let's move this PSF down again. Update the sliders. Hopefully the ringing will go away. Not quite. So let's go ahead and, oh, yes. So you want to do a dual PSF. Yeah. So if you don't have dual PSF checked, then this PSF for stars will not work. So update the sliders again. And we'll check the preview. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so the nebula is a lot sharper. I don't know if we want it that sharp. Let's bring this down a little bit more. It's sharpening too much of the noise is what I think. Okay, I think that's good. I think the stars are okay. Let's see if we can bring that down even further. Because I don't think we have to sharpen the stars all that much. Let's move around just to double check, like as a sanity check. Okay, see, yeah, this is getting a lot sharper. Stars are okay. Just for fun, let's move this all the way up to 8 for the DSO and see what happens. It'll probably be way too sharp. Yeah, that's not very good. Okay, let's bring this down a little bit. So, I mean, I think everything was in focus, and I didn't have too bad of tracking. So I don't think we need too much sharpening on either the DSOs or the stars. But we'll just play around with the settings a little bit. Again, these default settings should be good for, I don't know, 99% of everything like that you do. I think that looks nice. I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and do multi-core. I'm going to update the sliders first. Do you guess the PSF these days? Use it more to personal preference. I use to check PSFOs from Serial before using AstroSharp, but I don't anymore. I used to as well, but I don't anymore. I just play around with it because like I feel like going into Serial and checking it takes more time than just playing around with it. And so I would guess that like the PSF for the stars is about like 70% of the actual PSF. And then like the PSF for the DSO is around the PSF of that you find in Serial. So like plus or minus, 1 or 2 PSF. Because like, yeah, I don't usually check it anymore. You can check it. If you were using the single PSF model, I would probably definitely check it. And then to make sure that you don't get ringing, I would do something like, take the PSF and maybe do 70% of it, or even actually I would divide it by 2.35 for the stars. So yeah, So I'll just write that in the chat. So like for a single PSF, divide it by 2.35. For a dual PSF, I would just play around with it, see what works. But like having said that, measuring the PSF and then applying it will probably get you better initial results. You'll be in the ballpark and you won't have to guess as much. But I think this works, just playing around with it. With the dual PSF model, I just play around with it more because you have so much control over like the different parts of the image now. Let's do multi-core. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't go into serial as much as I used to. I just look at it. And then let's go ahead and click on full image. Once I click on full image, it's going to start processing the full image. And all my CPU cores are going to go to like 100%. So if there's a little bit of stuttering, that's why. So I'll just show you if, let's see. So here we go. Here's my CPU starting. There it goes. We're pegged at 100%. We're going. So hopefully there's no stuttering right now. Yeah. Okay, we'll bring this in to GIMP after we go through AstroClean. So we'll bring in both the AstroClean image and the sharpened image, and we can play around with both and see which one we like. Good. Once I see my CPU cores start to go down, then I know that it's about ready to finish up. But right now they're all working. It'll probably take, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes to do this image for me. Need to figure out how to do this just natively in Python, I think. Somehow use GPU acceleration. I think multi-core saves a couple minutes. All the cores are still going though. So to answer, what software do you use? You said you do use AstroSharp, but what else do you use to process your images? If you don't mind me asking. Let's see. All the cores are still going. Let's see, did we get some drop off? I don't know. Actually, very similar DSS, Serial, AstroSharp, and GIMP in that order most of the time. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So you use AstroSharp before GIMP? I guess that would make sense, right? If like, especially if you've like combined the images already, like, or if you have a one-shot color camera, or like you've combined your narrowband or RGB filters together, you might not necessarily need to put it in GIMP like I do before you actually go through AstroSharp. Yeah, only recently I found deconvolution seems to work better before. Let's see. I can't see. For noise reduction. Okay. Yeah, um yeah, I think that, yeah, like definitely you want to do the sharpening or deconvolution before the noise reduction, because noise reduction just gets rid of detail that you can't really get back. So you do the deconvolution first, or the noise, or the sharpening, and then like it makes it sharp, and then you can apply the noise reduction. However, you do the noise reduction, in GIMP or whatever. Ooh, it's taking a while. It takes longer when I stream because my CPU is doing a bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, it's not sending as much data to YouTube, I don't think either, because it says the audio stream current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. Maybe I should not do multi-core processing when I stream. That might be a good idea. Things are changing a little bit. Yep, all the cores are still going. You can definitely hear my computer's fan running like full blast. I'm running a 1500 millimeter scope at the moment, looking to get 600 millimeters soon. Do you have a favorite focal length to work at, or a favorite telescope? Let me think. So the three scopes that I have used for astrophotography are an Orion doublet, which is at 600 millimeters. Well, it's at 600 millimeters natively, and I put a 0.8 focal reducer on it, and I like that. I like that, you know, that effort, the focal length for that. 480 is perfect for a lot of targets. Depending on your sensor size, you can get in, the whole Heart Nebula if you wanted to, or all of Andromeda. With my sensor, the 294 mm Pro, like can't quite fit in Andromeda all in one frame. So if it was a little bit wider, it would be good. So it just depends on know what you want. So 1500 millimeters, is that like a Newtonian? That seems like a Newtonian range in my mind, but maybe it's not. Um, I also have a Ritchie creation, which is like 1370 millimeters. And that one is good for a lot of targets. And of course, I have Celestron C8 that I've used normally with more like lucky imaging techniques, kind of like in between like astrophotography and lucky image. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Um, so it's like in between, kind of like where I take like 30, 15-second to 30-second exposures. It's actually a Mac. It's not optimal. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's I would think around 400 to 600 is like where I would want to be at for most targets. For galaxies, I've been going with my Schmidt Cassegrain, which is like a C8, you know, like um, more and more. And I kind of like that more than a Ritchie creation because it's easier to collimate, and but it's a little bit heavier and it's a little bit bulkier, so it kind of gets makes things a little bit more difficult. The focal length is longer. Everything is longer with it. So even like small tracking errors just to- totally mess up things, which is why I keep things short exposures. Okay, let's download this file. Sorry, let me drink something. Okay. That's better. Let's download this file. And we will call it see where I want to download here. IC405 sharpen.tip. We'll save it. And then let's go back and put it into preview. We'll let it do its thing. I'm thinking I'm going to change it to multi-core, so like I have enough CPU power to actually stream. And then I'm going to bring in the sharpened image that we just did. Let's see here. We'll run it through Astro Clean and see how well that does. Okay, let's change the model to Astro Clean. Update the sliders. Yeah, that's quite aggressive. I don't think we want it so aggressive. Let's bring it down maybe to like 55. Update the sliders again and see what happens. Okay. Let's see. I think that's okay. Let's go ahead and do the full image. And we'll wait another 5 or 10 minutes. I'm actually really excited to go to 600 millimeters since I've been working at 1500 millimeters for about a year and I've had to deal with tracking errors and all those problems, hoping it's a bit of a relief. Yeah, it's a lot easier. You know, you're going with a refractor too, I would think, right? So at 600 millimeters, that sounds like a refractor type telescope. I would, yeah, it is so much easier to at 600 millimeters than 1500 millimeters. Even like at 1370 with my the Ritchie creation I have, like just a little bit of error just makes things bad. Cool, Skywatcher 8080, nice. Do you off-axis guiding or do to a guide scope. I would think that like at 1500 millimeters, off-axis guider would be a lot better. I use off-axis guider for both. Oh, neither. Thanks. Yeah. Um, neither is fine. Neither is fine. You can get away with neither. I think the cameras now are so sensitive. And if it's a Mac, how big is the aperture on the Mac? The Mac you have? Is it like 150? So you're at like f10. But you can get away with like 15-second exposures now on certain targets if it's a broadband target. Like you don't need it. Even like a one-shot color with dual narrowband. Sometimes you get shorter and shorter exposures now. I mean, you can look at like old astrophotography forums, right? When they're using like CCD cameras and like they'd be like, I'm getting using 600-second exposures to a narrowband because they just needed it. Was up 127 millimeters f11.8. I run about 60-second stubs most of the time. Yeah, I think that should work. I mean, the cameras are so sensitive now that like you don't need guiding as much as you used to. There still can be like walking noise, right? Where like the mount in the right ascension axis like kind of like goes back and forth and you get the walking noise. But you can do dithering without that, right? You can do like either manual dithering or whatever. Just have it dither in between subframes a little bit. Even without a guide scope, and you can get rid of a lot of that walking noise. So yeah, definitely like I should not have used multi-core when I was streaming. I think I probably like broke up a little bit. Like YouTube was telling me, hey, your audio is breaking up. It takes a couple extra minutes. Yep, almost every photo I get walking noise to some extent, even with dithering. I plan on guiding with the 80ED, and I plan on experimenting with the Mac just to see if I can guide it. Yeah, yeah, definitely experiment if you got the equipment. You know, I think a guide scope is probably better than no guide scope. With when I started using my Ritchie Creation, like I started with the 80ED, what everybody told me to start with. Start with like a refractor, right? Like a shorter focal length. You won't have to deal with like mirror flop and all this other stuff. And the shorter focal length is easier. I'm glad I listened to that advice. I didn't have guiding either, so like I bought everything in steps. So like I would got my mount, my telescope first. I already had the T4i camera that I was using. Got started with that, and then eventually I got a guide, small little guide scope and a guide camera, and that helped a ton to get rid of the walking noise that I had. And then slowly I kept building up. But once I went to my Ritchie Creation, the guide scope, and that like it was just a little 50 millimeter guide scope with a like just a camera on it. it just didn't cut it anymore. I would get flex, like where as the scope was rotating in the sky, like the registration would start pointing just in a little bit of a different direction than the guide scope because of like gravity, like bending the scopes in different ways. And guiding would look like perfect. I would have like, 0.7 arc second guiding, which is like really good for me. And I was like, oh wow, this is great. And I would get the subframe would download and it would just be like like the stars would be stretched in one direction and it'd always be like weird directions. And I was after that I was like, okay, let me get an off-axis guider. And I got one, and it cleared up a lot of the issues. But even with the guide scope, I think I got better pictures than without it. So like it wouldn't flex all the time, but sometimes it would. So okay, let's download this file. I'll name it Astro IC405. Okay, now let's see if we can bring it into GIMP. Bring those files into GIMP and we'll take a look at them. Give me 1 second to find them. See if we can bring them in here. Nope, it's not letting me. Yep, these as layers. Here we go. Got them. Yeah, I think like experiment with guiding with the ADED, you're going to be like so happy with those subs. Okay, let's see here. This one is the sharpened image. Top one is sharpened. This one is the cleaned image. This is the original. So let's see what the difference is between the sharpened and the original. It looks to me like the stars are smaller, which is nice. I like that. They're smaller. Let's see if they've brightened up just a tad bit because they were a little bit too like, I don't know, like StarNet++ sometimes when it does that automatic stuff in Serial, it like makes the stars a little bit, when it's creating the star master, a little bit not bright enough. And I think AstroSharp does a nice job of brightening them back up. Right. So, and then, but also making them smaller, which I like that a little bit more than, like, this is a little bit too soft, too light. And AstroSharp kind of like brings it back, tightens them back up a little bit. I like that. And there's not too much halo going on. There's some halo around the smaller stars because I don't think the star mask was capturing these stars. So maybe we could have brought down the star mask threshold a little bit. But when you zoom out, I don't think you can see it too much. Okay, so let's take a look here at the nebula. We'll zoom in. You can see that like this part is getting more sharpened. Yeah, I think it's nice. Let's zoom out a little bit. Take a little bit broader. Let's see. Did you use the same guide camera for the off-axis guider? I've heard a lot about 120mm mini versus 174 mini, but the 174 is a lot more. Yeah, I think I have. So I did. So mine is I think it's a 224 MC. Let me go check. I can go check real quick to make sure. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it's the 224 MC. I think it's in the middle. So it's like in between the 120 and the 174. I want to image, but there are clouds. Yeah, same here. Clouds and rain. Clouds and rain where I've been at. Um, and a bunch of humidity. Yeah, that's no fun. Uh, so to go back to the answer to your question, like, yeah, I did use the same guide camera, and I think those UWO planetary cameras, they're sensitive enough. The problem a lot of times is not that the camera isn't sensitive enough; it's that the it's that the pick-off prism is a little bit too small. So, like, I have the Orion thin off-axis guider, and that prism is pretty small. I also have the Celestron off-axis guider. That was the first one I got. That pick-off prism is a lot bigger, but it doesn't quite fit. There's too much back focus if I put it on my refractor. So the thin off-axis guider is good. It's fine usually for what I'm imaging, which is nebula or nebulae, right? Like when I image like IC 405, I don't have a problem finding stars because there's a lot of stars around it. But when I use like the Schmidt-Cassegrain, I do want to use the Celestron off-axis guider because that pick-off prism is bigger, and you get a little bit of bit like more area that you can work with. I legit just started working an M78 project. And this horrible weather started. Oh no, that's horrible. I finished imaging the IC405, and I wanted to add in some O3 data, maybe even some S2 data, just to see if there is any S2 data there. I'm not sure if there's that much. I know there's O3 data. I've done it before with O3. And yeah, same thing. Clouds just rolled in, just no time. And then now the moon is up, and O3 is no good when the moon is up. Like it's like HA can kind of deal with it, but like O3 can't as much. Yeah, it's the way it is. Okay, so here is the sharpened, right? So if we go here, zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks nice. I think it sharpened it up fine. Like the stars again, a little bit more compact. And the nebula is a little bit more sharpened. Now let's see what the difference is between that and the cleaned, like that from AstroClean. We'll just check. So this is AstroClean. And yeah, it's cleaned it up quite a bit too. So if we zoom in, you can see things are a lot smoother. We do lose a little bit of detail. So maybe it's a little bit too aggressive. But it does clean up the background quite a bit. So we could, hey James, how are you? Sitting here on a DSLR front, just a Canon EOS 70. Yeah. Yeah, so I have a DSLR left, but at least my scope is fast. It's a 6-inch f4 Newt with a Rebel T7 Canon. Would HA filters work with DSLR? And if so, could I combine it in serial? Is your camera modified? So is it Astro modified? So a T7 Canon. Did you remove the IR filter or the infrared filter on it? Okay, so no, it still has, yeah. So you would probably not see very much benefit with an O3. I mean, with an HA filter. if it's not modified. But sometimes Canon filters, I mean, sometimes Canon cameras have a little bit more room at the infrared range than other cameras, so it might be worth a shot. Yeah, let's see. With 2 hours of data, AstroClean did wonders. It was really grainy, but it helped make it less obvious those 2 hours. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad it worked. I think it works really well on darker images. It does blur things out a little bit in the after you've sharpened it a little bit, but I think it's a good trade-off. James, you're doing good. Thanks. Really enjoyed the last video. Thanks. Perfect timing. I'm deciding to try and ditch filters for my galaxy imaging. Cool. Yeah. What are you planning to image the galaxies? And have you set up your stuff yet? I mean, I know you were still trying to get your scope out. But yeah, I think should be good. I think I need to do like someone asked a question. I can't remember who it was in one of the comments. They were like, would the filter work, in like a Bortle 1 zone? Would you even need an HA filter or any filter at all? And I think that's a good question. I think it's a good experiment. I just need to get to a Bortle 1 zone. I've got some data from a Bortle 3-ish zone that I might be able to look at, but it's good. Not yet, but plan to get things sorted now that I am on holiday for things. Nice, 3 weeks. That's good. Good to be on holiday. I'll be on holiday for the next week, so we'll see if I can get any imaging in. I might switch out my RGB filters for my S2 and O3 filters. I've got a filter wheel. It's only 5. There's only 5 slots in it. So I've got right now HA. I've got LR GMP, so that's 5 filters. Probably switch out the L and probably the R filter for the S2 and the O3. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I hope you enjoy yours as well. 3 weeks is a good time. It's a nice time. It's currently raining here, by the way. Oh man, it's cloudy here. It's cloudy here. It'd be nice to do some imaging as I'm processing, so I could like every now and then go back and forth between the processing and the imaging. But yeah, okay. So let's take a little bit of a look around to see how AstroClean did. Yeah, I think it did. It's nice. Like there's a lot of graininess here, a lot of graininess in the background, and it's gone. One thing about AstroClean is that only, and I don't know if I've made this clear in the video when I brought it out, is that like it only cleans the luminance channel. It leaves the RGB data alone. And so if you have any of this RGB noise, we can zoom in a little bit and we can see it. Oops. No, don't want to do that. We zoom in, you can still see that there's RGB noise, but all of this other like luminance noise is kind of gone. And it's just the way I set it up. But I think this looks pretty nice, all said and done. Like it looks, we got the nice little tail with the Flaming Star Nebula, which is good. It looks nice and clean. We've got some good star color. I will probably redo this at some point to try and get the color of the nebula a little bit different. But that's going to just take tweaking. So this is again like the first time I'm processing an image. I think this is a good first process of the image, and we'll see what we can do. I think the noise is nice and controlled in the background, and then things are pretty sharp. The stars are sharper than they were. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I think it's a nice first attempt at processing things. Question: would this stuff be applied to the linear data or to the finished processed image? Okay, let's see. Okay, so just let me back up. So to answer, you say just thinking about the targets of opportunity for the ADHD. Did you ever try for galaxies with your Orion with any luck? Um, yes, yes. So I did. There depending on where you're at. So I don't know where you're at. So Andromeda is a good one. M33 is a good one, and M78 is a good one. Am I getting that number right? I think I am. No, not M78. M70. Let's see. I've got it here. There's I did I think I did a video on it. Not M78. Well, M51 definitely is a good one if depending on where you're at. Let's see, where is it? M101 of course is a good one. Let's see. NGC. No, I don't know. There's what is it? And is it M73? There's a galaxy. No, not M73. There's another galaxy that's pretty big. Sculptor, yeah, depends on where you're at. Oh, you're in the southern hemisphere. So lots of M101 and 51 size galaxies like M83 and M4. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely try galaxies with your ADHD. You can get a nice wide field. And with like StarNet now, you can control the stars and really make the galaxy pop. Hi from Australia. What is the poll about? Just are you imaging like anything this week? So that is just a question like, are you imaging like any DSO targets, maybe galaxies or nebulae, or maybe even the planets? Let's see. Okay, question. Would this stuff be applied to linear data or to finished processed image? So you mean AstroSharp and AstroClean? AstroSharp and AstroClean are applied to the process stretched image. They won't really work too well on unprocessed image because they weren't trained on linear data. The thing about like training a neural network is like it's quite difficult to train a network when almost all the numbers are near zero. And so to get rid of that problem, I just trained it on stretched images where on a TIFF image, the range is from 0 to 1 most of the time. And so a 0 to 1 range is a lot better for a lot of neural networks to like handle. Yeah, maybe the sculptor galaxy. Let's see. Let me see. Let me just check the Messier targets real quick. I'll bring it up. I'll note once I see it. Let's see. I should know it once I see it. Oh, Messier 74. Did I say 78? Yeah, M74. I think that's visible in the southern hemisphere. It might be. So Messier 74. That's a good one too. So, Messier 74. If you have that target available. I mean, there's a lot of good things you can do with a 600 millimeter scope. That's a good focal length. They won't be like zoomed in. It's not going to be super zoomed in. It'll be like more of a wide field, but you'll still get a lot of detail out of it. Christmas Eve might be clear, so I might image that night. Christmas is at my house, so I'll just set up early another one. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, it's hard to set up when family is around, right? Like you've got a lot of family and you want to spend time with them, and like in the evening is when everybody kind of gets together and eats or whatever. But yeah, too cloudy. Say too cloudy the last few months, but started processing the data from the blackened galaxy from a few months back. Yeah, there's a lot of clouds everywhere the last few months. Winter is a hard, or the sun is a hard time for a lot of people, I think. M83 Centaurus A. Yeah, cool. Both good for an 8080. Cool. Yeah, yeah. It's good that we have some people here representing the southern hemisphere because I do not do not know exactly what is the best targets for an 80. But like for the northern hemisphere, I would say got Andromeda M33, M51, M74. Like you've got a good range of galaxies they can do. Yeah. Yeah, nebulae are fantastic. Yeah, I agree. 80 millimeter is great for nebulae, like this one. So yeah, I think this came out pretty nice. Pretty nice. I'm happy with this first edit. Maybe I'll go back, try and change the color of the galaxy. Maybe try and clean this up a little bit. It turned out nice. I'm 64. Cool. Let's see. Yeah, I'm 64. Let's see. Do you guys like galaxies or nebulae more to image? Oh, the Black Eye Galaxy, yeah. Sunbird Galaxy, yeah. Yep. There's a lot of nice galaxies out there. So the answer you say us Aussies are getting slammed weather-wise. Oh man. Yeah, that's no fun. I've had a couple of clear nights the past week. It's like it's winter here, but I'm sort of used to be in Maryland, which is cooler climate, and you would get, nice periods of very dry weather. Now I'm in Florida and we get very humid weather still. And so you don't really get that as much. Sometimes you do though. Personally, I've swayed towards galaxies after doing a galaxy course for university, but it might be a phase. I really enjoyed doing galaxies. Yeah, James says you do both. Yeah, I agree. Like both are fun. When I got into it, I really wanted to do galaxies, and like I wanted to get like really into like zoom into the targets, and I'll go onto the forums and Cloudy Nights, and I'd be like, look, I'm interested in getting into astrophotography. I see this used scope available, and it's like a Orion Newtonian 8-inch, on a Sirius mount. It's like, would this be a good deal? And everybody's like, no, don't do that. Get a refractor first, and you'll like it a lot more. So, Rocket Lab says M78 is my first nebula I've imaged aside from M57, and fits snug in the center of the sensor. Cool, nice. So Gary says your Astro Sharp did a great job on NGC 253 for me. Cool, awesome. Yeah, 294 MC. Yeah, I got the similar camera, 294. I like it. Yes, the image was taken with my Orion 80 MM, the same telescope I used to do the last video. So I like it. I like it. Like the 80 millimeter I have is not perfect. Like definitely like there are a lot better deals out there now than when I got it. But when I started, there weren't quite as many options as there are now. Omega Centauri and 47 Tuck are both great for the 80 ED. Are those? Yeah, I haven't done those yet. So it's so hard. Some of these targets when I was like for the last few years up in Maryland, and like it's in the US it's pretty far north. I guess if you're in Europe, it's not that far north. But like there are a lot of targets that are lower in the horizon that I really wanted to image that just couldn't because they're too far south. You know, the trees were in the way. But yeah, globular clusters. Yeah, I like globular clusters. They're very easy to process, and they're very beautiful. I think I like them a lot. They're nice. Yeah, both southern objects. Yeah. So, but even things like I don't know the Lagoon Nebula, which should be visible in the northern hemisphere. Like, it's just too low. I would have maybe 30 minutes of imaging time each night, and in the summertime, don't get very much time to image. So it was very difficult to do. Hopefully now that I'm a little bit lower latitude, I can image some of those more, southern targets. I won't be able to get a lot of the great targets that are from the southern hemisphere though, but maybe one day. Maybe one day. Yeah, Andromeda Galaxy. Yeah. Got that for you guys. Yeah. I would very much like to image the Magellanic Clouds one day. I think those things are so cool. Yeah, very low on the horizon. Yeah, Magellanic Clouds, you can't even see them here. 20 degrees at most. Yeah, I don't think the Magellanic Clouds pop up where I'm at. But yeah, I do like Andromeda. I should probably image that. But like there's only so much time, and I really want to do the Flaming Star Nebula like a wider field. I did a more narrow field a few years back with a different camera. So the field of view was a lot narrower, and so yeah. Let me see if I can find that image. It's just it's an HOO image, I think. I recall correctly. Yeah, and I don't think I got the color right on this one either. So here it is. So this is like the same scope, Orion ED, but you can see how much narrower the field of view is. So I was using a smaller CCD camera that I had bought used, and I got it with all my filters. And if we can rotate this so it's the same direction, maybe that'd be better. Let's rotate it like that. Maybe nope. I think I have to flip it. I have to flip it. Can I flip it? This software, I don't know if I can. But like you can see how much narrower the field of view is with the same camera. So the chips was just a lot smaller. Tarantula Nebula is a must down here. Yeah, I want to do that one too. In the Large Magellanic Cloud. That's cool. Is that comparing a 1" to 4/3? I'm not aware of the 294 MC size. So I don't even know if the let me see the sensor sizes. I don't think the 294 is quite, it is, yeah, it is a 4/3 format. So star, let's see. I can't, it's getting late here and I'm not able to focus as much. The let's see, what is it? Star Express. I'll show you the camera that I had. So let's see, it's the Starlight Express camera. It was a small one. I can't remember. Let's see here. It was this one. But this is a newer version of it. So the Starlight Express Trius Pro 825. And I think, so the sensor size is like, it's 9mm by 6.7mm. So like 9mm, so that's like in inches, that's like not even half an inch. So it's a lot smaller. But I got this with my filter wheel and filter all my filters from Cloudy Nights. And I think that this, you know, this is probably not a good deal anymore. I bought it used and I got everything for a lot less than this, like about half the price, because the guy who was selling it didn't need it. He just needed to sell it, I guess. Getting called for dinner. All right, James. See you next time. Have a good dinner. Hope it's delicious. I'm sure it will be. I think you've gained an afternoon crowd, so don't let us keep you up too late. Yeah, yeah. I think I start streaming kind of later in the evening, and I do get a lot of the Southern Hemisphere folks on, or the Aussie crowd, New Zealand crowd. So, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and sign off in just a couple minutes. Let's see if there's anything I missed in chat. So Gary says, managed a few hours of Andromeda Galaxy 2 months back. Got about 18 degrees. Was a perfect night. That's cool. That's good. Yeah. When it's low in the sky, it's really difficult. It's so difficult. So, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And Andromeda is so bright too that even at 18 degrees in the sky, you could probably get a decent image with enough integration time. So, all right. I think that's it for tonight. I think I'll go ahead and sign off. Thank you everybody for keeping me company and bearing with me as we worked through the problems of the HA data, which if you join the stream late, you can go back and see that my darks were bad and they were like not calibrating correctly. And I went back and used some older darks and it did fine. So I have to go check those darks and see what's going on. Maybe the temperature was not quite exactly right. I don't know. So, is there a target that you have ever been tempted to travel for? Yeah, the Magellanic Clouds, large Magellanic Cloud, everything in there. That's the one thing I wanted. That's not, I'd like to go to the Southern Hemisphere to just to get that target. So, congrats. Thank you. Yes, I hope future iterations will work too, and I'll post them if I get them. I think this one is decent. It's a decent image, but there could be more work done to get the color right. So, thanks everyone. I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll try and get a good night's sleep. All right, and happy holidays, and hopefully everybody has a nice holidays if you're taking time off. Get some imaging time in. All right. Thank you.